Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Milsurp World podcast. I think this is episode number 34. Been doing this for quite a while. Here with us today, we have Aaron and Jared. Say hello, fellas.
Hello.
So in today's episode, we are going to talk a bit about kind of the pros and cons, or maybe even sort of like a versus gun stores versus gun shows as far as getting Milsurps. So I figured we can kind of talk about some of the pros and cons of each of those and maybe what we prefer, what we think is better, and what we've had better luck with.
Yeah, definitely. Jared, are you here?
Yes.
Oh, I was making sure. He didn't disappear on us.
Yeah, so it's probably pretty subjective on what's better. And one thing I've learned from making all the gun show videos that I have is that people seem to hate gun shows nowadays. Like there seems to be like quite a disdain for gun shows, and not completely undeservedly. I think it's because of like that's the thing. It's easy just to say like, oh, gun shows suck, like just a blanket statement like that, instead of saying like gun shows done by these companies suck. Because that's the thing. There's lots of different vendors, lots of different companies that put on shows. Some gun show companies, like they don't care. They'll sell tables to whoever. That's all they care about is selling tables, right? Charging admission. Because that's how they make their money from it, right? So, and then there's other guys that tend to be a little bit less maybe, profit driven, more, geared toward just, just like the hobby, maybe just for collectors, just depending on the type of show. So it's hard to say just by like a blanket statement. Sometimes, shows can be hit or miss, but, same thing with gun stores. Gun stores can be very hit or miss. So we have a little list of pros and cons of gun shows and gun stores, so that I figured that we could kind of run down and kind of discuss some of the points that we've come up with.
Do you want to do the point discussion format, or do you want to go through all of them and then go from there? Like point A discussion, point B discussion?
Yeah. We can just kind of we'll just go through the list and just talk about each one of the pros, I guess.
Okay.
Okay. So what I think is the main pro of gun shows is that you have many vendors at one place. I think that's the number one big pull-in for a gun show, especially for a good show, right? So we're just going to kind of talking generalities here, but it's typically if you have a good show with a good reputation and like a good setting, it's common for many gun stores in an area to set up a table at a gun show, to be represented at a gun show. So I think sometimes you can kind of, they'll pull quite a few vendors. Of course, there's just guys that only do gun shows, so you get those as well. But I think that's one pro of the gun show, which does kind of maybe tie into a con of the gun store. But
yeah, I can see that. Like it's getting everybody together in a single location.
It's kind of like the strip mall of gun stores.
Yeah. Which I've been to a gun show at a strip mall before. It was in a like a shutdown Goodies. Have y'all ever heard of like the Goodies?
Yes.
Store. I don't know if that's up here.
I'm not that much younger than you, Danny.
I mean, I don't know if that was just a regional thing. That was something in Tallahassee. There was a gun show at a closed down Goodies, and the crazy thing was that they left all the shopping carts. So like no shit, people were pushing around shopping carts on this gun show with like ammo and stuff, just throwing everything in it.
That's actually a good idea.
Oh yeah, it was pretty great. Like because especially as like a vendor, so I set up there and like bringing stuff in and out, before and after the show. Like you just grab a shopping cart or a buggy as we call it in the South, and you grab a buggy and you load it up But that's like I think that's the only gun show that I've ever seen. A bunch of people pushing on shopping carts.
There was one here. It was PA Collectors, I think. They had them. There was one that was in a shutdown Best Buy, and then they moved to a different location, and it was in a shutdown Kmart.
Man, yeah, those shows, you get a weird vibe from those shows, because when they're in like the sterile, like, what do you call it, like a an expo center or whatever. It's just kind of like, hey, this is just sort of like it's meant for putting on these types of exhibitions. But yeah, when you have one in like a a defunct business, it gives the show like a weird vibe.
I've seen them in fire halls too.
Really?
Yep. I've seen a couple around here that have been. They're usually smaller, but they'll pull all the fire trucks out and then they'll set up tables in the fire hall.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I'm trying to think of some weird places. Oh, just recently here in Kansas City, there's in the Midwest, there's this chain of gun show companies. It's RK shows. And apparently, what I heard is that one of the guys, I don't know if it was a partnership or whatever, but one of the guys broke off from RK and was basically like, hey, screw you guys, I'm going to have my own gun shows with blackjack and hookers. And so he started doing his own gun shows, but they're at this weird, it's like this weird indoor gymnasium type deal where there's like artificial grass and there's like nets for like various sports. And it like the gun show stretched all the way back, and it was on this, AstroTurf inside, and it like went all the way back to these like batting cages and everything. That was a pretty weird one. Which I'm sure that was pretty nice for the vendors that stand on your feet all day to kind of be on AstroTurf, instead of just
instead of concrete.
Or whatever. Yeah. Which that's a long day. That's a long day.
Danny, Jared, I gotta be right back. I've gotta go get my daughters down for bed, and then I'll come back.
Sure.
Okie doke.
Family, people, family.
Family first. Were the batting cages open?
No, I wish.
Yeah, batting cages in a gun show, like.
Yeah. That seems like a win-win. Like if there was there were people there, I think, for the other activity. Oh, here's a good one. So in Overland Park, they have shows at for the last few years. They've been in the same like expo center, and there's this like long hallway, and then it goes up these escalators and goes upstairs. It's like on the second floor, but the first floor is like a big like area that can be rented out or for various events. And one gun show, it was a huge like wedding, and so all I could think of was how weird like these people are there for like a wedding reception or whatever, right? They're all dressed up and everything, and there's just like a bunch of like hillbilly looking folks walking around with guns back and forth, like right next to where this wedding reception is and everything. Like you could see the food trays and everything. That was kind of weird. I always wondered like if those people were a little bit upset that they shared a space like with a gun show for their wedding reception. But
they used to have one. Ironically, it's the same people that did Kmart and Best Buy. It was in this little strip mall, and now it's a Dave and Buster's. And I kind of wish they would have it next to the Dave and Buster's so we could go play video games and then go to the gun show.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Let's see. So other than weird locations, so there's pretty much when I look up like gun shows in the area, I look up like where it's at, obviously, like for directions and stuff, but also to get like a guesstimate of like what the size is going to be like. And I've noticed if it's at like a lot of them are at American Legions. I don't know if that's everywhere sort of thing, but everywhere I've been to, it seems like it's pretty common for them to be like at a VFW or an American Legion, which those tend to be much, much smaller shows.
Something that actually would kind of go for both pro and con then would be parking. Like our local show, we're going to one tomorrow, and you have to park rather far away because the parking lot fills up really fast, and it would be nicer if they had more parking.
Yeah, I did a show like that in Utah, and I remember the parking was crazy. Like you had to park way far away and then walk all the way there. And all I could think of was like, damn, if I buy a bunch of like rifles or ammo or whatever, and I have to haul this all the way in and out, to the car, that kind of sucks. But you do see the pros. You see the seasoned gun show guys that they always have like carts and stuff with them, like just the guys that walk around. There's this one guy that's always at the local shows, and he has this little like hand cart deal, and he'll have like a couple like rifles in it and like a big sign, for whatever he's selling. But yeah, it's interesting, like the location. So when you're looking at one, a lot of times online it'll list like the company of who's running it. Some companies, they don't do small shows at all. They only do like bigger shows. So you can kind of get an idea, like, of a company's reputation. So if you're looking it up, that's something to keep in mind. The location of the show is a big one as well. I mean, before baby life, I would drive like upwards of 3 hours, like to go to a show, like anywhere in the area. And that's another good way, of getting deals is if you can drive, just go, like, look up all the shows around you and neighboring states, stuff like that, and just go, because that's the best way ultimately, because you just go to one, like, who is it? There's a YouTuber who made a video about, like, it was his first gun show that he's been to that year. And he was like, "This is terrible. I'm never going to a gun show again. This is why I don't go to gun shows." And he made a big, video about that. He's much bigger YouTuber than our channel. And it was just like, hey man, like, that's the first one you've been to, and you only went to one, and you're giving up, and you're talking bad about all of them because you went to one bad show. That's tough. Because all it really takes is one dude, one deal at one gun show to really make that show for you. Yeah. So. That's especially if you get there late. If you get there late or you get there on the last day or whatever, and then you complain that there's no good deals. It's like, yeah, probably because they're all gone. Yeah. Probably all been bought up. But yeah.
Yeah, there aren't that many around us. Like it's really kind of, we live in kind of a weird area where it's kind of the next closest places to around us are like 3 or 4 hours away. So we could go to this one, and then there's one large one in Washington County that's like 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah, and you live in Pennsylvania, for everybody doesn't know that. So that's another thing too. It was a bit like that where I lived, because I lived in the armpit of Florida, and it was like at least an hour drive to any gun show, like at least an hour. And to a decent one, you're looking at 2, 3, maybe 4 hour drive.
They actually used to have a military collectors show. And it was 3 times the size of any gun show that was around here. It was awesome. And I went to it twice, and then they moved to the other side of the state, which is a 6 hour drive.
Dang.
Yeah, it sucks because it was an awesome show.
Yeah. See, I'm such a gun show addict. Like, to me, if a show was worth it, especially if you gotten a few good deals from there, I'd look at maybe getting like a hotel room or something, and like on Friday night, getting there early on Saturday. Sometimes that can be worth it,
Sometimes.
But it's kind of like with gambling, you just kind of have to, like, say, look, we're just having a good time. But, if you don't win, it's okay. You're just having a good time, But yeah, that's another good point. Military shows often get lumped in with gun shows, and they really are kind of a whole different animal, really. Because typically, they don't allow, junk there. They don't allow a lot of modern guns at, like, the military collector shows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't have a lot of, like, fudge and Chinese knives and
and purses and tasers. Oh God, what's another cliche? Beef jerky.
Beef jerky. Yep.
Yeah, which we're probably now touching into some of a con of a gun show, which is the crap. yeah, just stuff that they're selling tables and they're there to make money. I understand it, but if all the tables are full and there's 30 tables and you sold 10 bullshit tables, then you have ruined a third of the show, like, so to speak. Yeah And that's, again, the company's got to make money if they want to keep doing gun shows. And that varies too. Like, that's another thing. Like, you can't just see one bad show and then decide that you don't want to do it just because of that. But like around here, something I've noticed is if the weather's bad, like, so in the winter, the quality of the show goes down, like, quite a bit. Because I've talked to a couple of the dealers. Some of the dealers don't go to gun shows in the winter at all because say if there's a winter storm, and I've actually been to my local gun show, like, there was a really bad winter storm like the night before and kind of stretching on early into the morning. A lot of people just didn't even go to the gun show because just the roads are snowed in and everything. So I went to the show, and it was like a ghost town. It was nothing but vendors. Good bit of the vendors didn't even show up to their tables, and I mean, you could see clear across the show just because so many people didn't show up, and it stinks for the vendors that show up because they still pay. They have all the same expenses as a big show, and there's quite a lot of expenses that dealers have for setting up at a gun show. And then if a bunch of people don't show up, then they're losing money. And the guys that run the shows, they don't give like refunds. If it's a bad show and nobody shows up to the show, they don't give the vendors a refund. So the vendors are just out. So a lot of times in the winter, vendors won't even go to the shows. They won't even set up and do the shows. Just because of the risk of the show being a ghost town.
Really, the major problem for that stuff around here seems to be if there's another one on a conflicting date, where you'd think they would kind of like plan for that. Hey, let's not have two shows 20 miles apart at the same day. But I know it's happened several times and even the vendors that I've talked to, because a couple of them are my friends, are like, yeah, we're going to go to this one because they're going to get 3 times the amount of traffic. It's like, well, I understand your point. You make a valid point. You got to make money. Yeah.
And that's something too you got to look into. What other shows are going on? Because I don't often look at shows like in the whole area. I'll just look at shows like around me in like maybe a 3-hour radius, something like that. And like one show I showed up, some vendors that I always look for weren't there. I'm like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, oh, there's a big show going on in New Orleans. There's a big military show, so all the guys are there. And then the Missouri Valley show at KCI. Typically, that's a really good show. It's full of really cool stuff. But they had it on the same weekend as Show of Shows in Kentucky, so all the big vendors, they went to the Show of Shows. So they really split it up, and that was just really poor timing. On their fault. And then I did a video on the gun show Perfect Storm where I went to three gun shows on a Saturday, and that's another thing too. It split all those vendors because if it's close enough that I can go to all 3 in a day, then it's they're really pulling vendors from one show to another. And the funny thing is that each show I went to, they were talking about how their show sucks and they wish they set up at the other show. So like the vendors, I heard vendors. So that's like one of those, grass is always greener.
That's right.
Kind of things.
It's amazing to me how many people, I would say it's kind of a con actually, would be that everyone brings the same thing and everyone wants the same price for their thing. So easy example, Glock 17. There's 8 vendors with the same pistol and at the same price. You would think that people would try to bring things that are different instead of just, I'm going to bring this whole section of, X rifle or X pistol, but so a bunch of other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never got that.
I think it's one of those things too, where like they just kind of bring what sells, and a Glock is a really good selling gun. It might be the best, selling pistol. And so they bring what they think is going to sell. But interesting point. So like Glock prices at a show, like that to me is like a litmus test of how a vendor prices their stuff. So like I can go around and just see like the prices of the same exact like Glock 19 and just see.
Yeah.
And it's a little off topic, but something crazy I've always noticed is that at gun shows, used Glocks tend to be higher prices than new Glocks. Have you ever noticed that?
I've only ever seen a few, like they were like police clocks, right? They were trade-ins, and they were reasonably priced.
Yeah, well, if you get a vendor that got a batch of police trading Glocks, then that could be a good price. But I mean, like, and maybe I think this is just in the last year or so since the scare and everything, but. I'll see like new Glocks and they're priced around like $550, which to me that's like kind of pushing it a little high for like a new Glock. I don't know if I'm just out of touch with Glock price, but I feel like around $5. I just remember seeing them for years, like $5 and under, like for new. Mm-hmm. Now they're like $550 or whatever. But then I'd go to another table and there's a guy selling like a used Glock and it's like a private sale or whatever, and he's asking like $6+ for it. And it's just like this, just a nothing special, whatever, same exact model. And if I wanted to get into it a little more, I would just be like, hey, like, why?
Yeah.
Just, Why is that? But getting back to what I was saying, like with
Right.
the litmus test, like you can just go around and just price them, and then if a vendor has, and just kind of see the lowest price one of the whole show, which is good, if you're actually looking to buy a new gun or something like that. But that can be an indicator too. If a vendor has Milsurps and a Glock, and you see their Glock is priced high, then
Mm-hmm.
and that's another thing too. I think a lot of people, maybe this is one of the cons for a gun show, but prices. So I hear a lot of people complain about prices, and I mean I have too, especially with the recent Wanamaker show, of how the price is going to be very, very high there. But I doubt. I would say that the majority of people actually don't like haggle at all. They just see a price and go, oh nope, and just like stop there, and even if it's not even that much, maybe $100 more or something than they think it should be, they just like stop, and just go, nope, that's which is maybe that's just the way people are, because we're used to walking into a store and seeing a price, and there's no like haggling with Walmart, so people maybe just aren't used to bartering.
I would say that's actually a pro is the ability to talk about price.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Not, not to keep beating negatives. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's actually a good thing where you can. It's usually a person, and you can talk to them like, hey, would you take this, or would you, or you can, you could also trade. Like, would you want to do this and some trade or whatever? Like, and that's something you can usually do at a show that you usually can't do at a store as easily.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Because if you have a gun you're not crazy about anymore, you don't want anymore, bring it along to barter. So yeah, the bartering is a good point. And and also, cash money talks, that's the best way of like negotiating, is being like, hey, like, how about, would you take this cash? Like, you see a gun that's $500 and you say, would you take $450 cash? And kind of take it from there. Because I think that's a lot of vendors will be much more willing to just take the cash and like that. I've done deals before with vendors like that, getting their price low to the point where I'm wondering because they eat the tax sometimes when they've done that. I'm trying to think of my most recent deal. I bought a Brazilian 0834. And I got them like down, and then they like said, okay, well, like no tax. So this is just a flat cash price. So they went down and they took off the tax. And I've always wondered, like, are those guys, since it's like a cash deal, are they just kind of putting in their books like that it sold for a lot less, since there's no like credit card, thing that they have to like, trace the price or whatever. That's just something I thought about. But it is common to run into. Like no other thing in the world, if you use a credit card for it, they'll charge you 3%. But if you go to buy a gun, they'll charge you 3% for using a credit card. Like that's very common. Even at gun stores, it's very common for them to try to tack on 3%.
Mm-hmm.
The high power I bought, they tacked on 3%.
Yeah. Yeah, I think anytime I've bought, not anytime, but most of the time when you buy with things on like Gunbroker and stuff, it would usually say in the description, credit card is 3%. And usually when it doesn't, it's like no fee, and they have it in big bold letters. Like,
yeah.
You save money. I mean, it's great.
Which I think it's I don't know. I'm talking outside of what I actually know here, but I think there's like some sort of deal where like if a credit card company finds out that you're charging credit card users more money, then they'll do something. I don't know. Like credit card companies don't like it when companies do that. So I think they get around that by saying the price discount. Say this price reflects the cash discount price, and
yes,
if you use a credit card, then I think that's how they get around it. But either way, like they can word it however they want to word it. It's still they're charging people, 3%, however they want to spend it. Which is interesting. That's one of those. It's just like only one of those gun things, man. I've kind of said that before, but you only run into that kind of stuff like dealing with guns.
And roof companies. My roof company charged me.
Oh, credit card fee?
Yep, they did. Trust me.
Man. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things, man. I don't know. I wouldn't ever like snitch or whatever, but like if it was a large amount of money, dude, you know, and then they're already give a little credit card company a ring. Okay, what are we talking about? Prices. Yeah, so it's kind of okay. Well, I was saying like it's a con because gun shows tend to be higher priced. Now, there is a reason for that, and it's because the expenses of a gun show is pretty high. And I don't think people truly understand the time and money and everything that goes into a vendor having to set up, at a show.
That's definitely your area, not mine.
Yeah, dang it. And I was gonna record. I actually did record a video, and something happened with the camera, and so I couldn't use it. But I recorded a video talking about that, where it's like, these vendors at gun shows, they either have full-time jobs or they like have a gun store that's open, Monday through Friday. And so this is their weekend, like this is their day off. And like nobody wants to work their days off. And these people are probably working their days off, first off. If they have employees, they're paying their employees to be there and work, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the gun show is far away and they have to, and they want to do it anyway, then they have, hotel costs. Then they have gas, they have the cost of a truck or trailer if they need something like that to bring these guns. There's just a ton of and then tables. I mean, what was it? A table can vary. At a small show, a table might be as low as $50. I think what I've seen, it tends to be like $70 to $90 a table for most shows. And you see a vendor that's got like 10 tables or whatever. That's that's a lot of money. Like they're already in the hole pretty deep. So the prices just kind of have to be a little higher to make up for that. So it just kind of is what it is. Like it's just, that's the price you pay for the show. But the pro side of it, there is bartering, there is cash deals, stuff like that. So I just kind of think it is what it is a little bit when it comes to prices at shows. All right, now gun stores. Here we go. Like, what do you think is a big pro of a gun store over a gun show? Like, what's the first thing that you could think of?
Wow.
Not to
my
put you on
mind
the
just went
spot.
completely blank. Yeah. Pro over gun store over gun show.
Yeah, there's not many.
No, there really isn't. It's just other than they're always there.
Yeah,
that would be my first thing. Like, if I need ammo, primers, but components, stuff like that, and I need it now, I can usually go to a store and buy it.
Yeah, instead of waiting 2 months or whatever for the next show.
Yeah,
or having to make sure you have the weekend off and everything.
Yeah, that's the first thing to me because traveling for work or something, it's like, oh, I could just swing in here and see, different stuff or whatever.
Yeah,
me, that's the first one.
To me, I have on this list. I put that it's a higher chance of finding low prices at a gun store. Now there's that, I think the main reason why there's a higher chance is because at a show, if there's an item like a Milsurp, that's like a really good deal. That show is full of other vendors who will see it and buy it up and resell it for higher, like immediately. So I think at a gun store, you have a higher chance of finding a low price because, there'll be a vendor that just, for whatever reason, they're pricing it like 5 years ago prices. It's on consignment and they don't care. They're just getting a percentage. That kind of stuff exists. And there's not like a ton of other vendors. Like not a lot of other gun store owners walk into other gun store owners, like into other gun stores all the time to like buy up their stock.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a whole lot of that. So I think you do have a higher chance of finding a low price. Now, the flip side of that is that there's a lot of driving that's involved. So like to see the same amount of like vendors or FFLs or gun dealers or whatever, to see the same amount as a gun show would involve quite a bit of driving around a city. Like the last time I've hit up all the gun stores like in Kansas City, like it was like an all day thing, because each store is like, say maybe 30 minutes apart or whatever, or 15 minutes apart, through the city, through different traffic, and you kind of have to plan out like which direction to go and everything. And
not all gun stores are going to have the kind of gun that you're looking for.
Yep. They're not all going to have it. So it's going to be a lot of driving, a lot of gas, stuff like that. So it's that is a pretty big con of gun stores, because I know a lot of guys that are just like, nah, I'm not going to go to gun shows. I'm just going to go to my gun store. And it's like, well, if you want to see the same number of stuff, you want to see like a lot of stuff, like you have to go to a lot of gun stores,
Yeah.
But if you have those stores, there's some good stores, out there. Like there's a couple in this area that I know kind of always have Milsurps, or at least are higher, a more likely chance of having Milsurps in my area. And I'll kind of tend to go to those. And there's one store that always has like a rack of Milsurps, and like they're always $300 like over retail, like every single one. It's like, I don't know who prices their stuff or how it does, but the plus it's always there. Like if you just absolutely had to have it, it's there. But I usually add that to like my stop of places to go, like around the city, because it's, at least I can see it and whatever. Man, one gun that store that I was talking about had, this was like 3 years ago. I went to it. They had a Airsoka Type 99. And it had all the bells and whistles on it. It had the mum and dust cover. It had a sling and everything. I think they wanted $900 for it. And just at the time, I was like, it's too high. I can get one cheaper, kind of thing. And like now, for a Type 99 like that, those things bring quite a bit of money on Gunbroker.
Mm-hmm.
I think like 12 plus for a Type 99 like that.
It was amazing to me that I stopped at Cabela's, which they normally have their used guns, no big deal. And our Cabela's, in the only one that's even around us, they had stuff like $600 above what I thought it would be going for. Some stuff.
Yeah, Cabela's can be pretty hit or miss.
Yeah.
They tend to, at least the one here, they tend to rotate stuff, like go through stuff pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like that high, from what I remember. The prices are usually like 100, 150, like a little bit higher than like a retail. But they go through it pretty fast. Oh man, I think I told you about the was it the Chilean 1912? That was at Cabela's. Yeah, I wish I would have grabbed that. It was all matching except for one part of the bolt. I think it was the safety or something was mismatched, but everything else was real nice. I think they wanted like 5 or 6 for it. It was on a Friday, and I was like, I just wasn't expecting, it wasn't on my radar. Like I didn't really need one. I already have one, kind of thing. And then I went home and I thought about it, and I did some research, and I saw what Chilean 1912s right now are bringing, and it's like, I should get that. And I went back on Saturday, and it was gone. So they do have quite the turnover. I tend to go there like every month or two to my local Cabela's, and it's always like all new stuff. They never have the same stuff whenever I go there. I know of a few guys that if a gun doesn't sell at the gun show, they just bring it to Cabela's to sell for them. And I wonder how many times that happens. With stuff at gun shows. Like how often does that need to happen? Because if a certain gun is like niche, so say there is a good deal, right? So people are like, there's no good deals at gun shows. Well, maybe there is a gun show, but maybe it's a smaller show, and the good deal is a Roth Krinka, but the guy wants $800 for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And nobody knows what it is. They just see $800 for a weird old pistol. Heck no, and the gun doesn't sell, Mm-hmm. But then the guy brings it to Cabela's, and Cabela's is like, oh shoot, we'll get you 12 for that or whatever,
Yep.
And then the guy's like, well shoot, I'm not gonna set up at a gun show anymore. I'm just gonna bring it to Cabela's and sell it on there. Because I've seen quite a bit of deals like that at local shows, like decent deals that just sit there. For some reason, it's really odd how stuff doesn't sell.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is, because it's weird. Because at the same time, like you'll say prices are high and everything, and there's not enough good deals. But then some deals just sit there all weekend.
Yeah. No one knows what they are, or they don't know what it is, and so they can't even tell you. To that way, they can't research it themselves. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. Speaking of deals at shows, I think I've talked to you a little bit about this already, but I'll say it here.
It's fine.
I am super excited to be looking at that German high power
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow. I think that'll be pretty sweet. It's a tangent sight German high power. So the tangent sight high powers, man, those go for really. They're premium already, but then a German tangent sight is like they're up there. It's not slotted, but it comes with a holster and 2 German mags. And the interesting thing is the holster has got a guy's name written on it. So like the vet who got it, he like carved his name into the holster. And then it looked like he got something like pretty like the scratches looked like it was done with like a needle or something. Like it's very skinny, it's very fine, but faintly on the right side of the frame, it's got the same name carved in the right side of the frame as it does on the holster. And I mean, typically anything like that done to a gun is like, ooh, like it's a pretty big turnoff. But it's the same exact name on the holster of the vet, and I think that's kind of like an exception. And it's not like blatant. It's not like, ooh, like you don't see it. You have to kind of look for it and hold it in the light right, because like I said, it looks like it was carved in like with a needle or something. Like it's very. I don't know what he did it with. Like because a knife would have scratched it up more or something. I'm not sure what he used, but to me, I think that's really cool. Like a named item. Like there's not too many named bringbacks. You know what I mean? The only way you kind of know that is maybe if the gun's papered or something like that. But
yeah,
that's a pretty neat set. With those German high power mags are like pretty pricey, and then with the holster and everything. So I'm pretty excited. I'm hoping to do a deal with the guy tomorrow, and add that because been on a high power kick as of late. I don't know what it is, man. I go through phases. I went through the Nambu phase for a minute. I'm in a high power phase.
Yeah, I always joke with my wife. I'm like, because I know you go through phases, and I'm like, I just catch the leftovers of the phase.
Yep. That's pretty much, man. Like and with the channel too, it's kind of one of those things because like I got into Type 14s, really liked them. I got 2 decent examples. Did a lot of research, made the video, and then it kind of gets it out of my system. And also I know like I need to make a video about another thing. Like I can't be the Type 14 channel, or I can't just be the Japanese pistol channel. I have to have some variety and kind of do all sorts of guns. So that's probably it's weird how much the show, like having the channel, affects my gun purchases. Because I've straight up bought stuff only because like A, it's a good deal, and then B, like, oh, this would make a good video. Like I should do a video on this. Like, oh, there hasn't been a video on this gun before. I met a guy at a local show. There's a little military show, and I ran into him, and he's like, "Hey, man, I watched your video on the Type 14. Like it was a great video." And I was like, "Oh, cool, thanks." And he goes, "Oh, and then when you read the quote from the book." I was like, oh shit, he's gonna read the quote, and he's like, yeah, you did. He's like, that's my favorite quote from any gun book ever. The one that I read on the Type 14 video. So I thought that was pretty cool. That he knew the quote. Like those Nambu, like the Japanese, collectors, the military collectors, like those guys are pretty like hardcore with their stuff.
When you went to the large show, was it Wanamaker?
Oh yeah, Wanamaker.
Did you get recognized?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, cool.
I did it quite a few times. Yeah, more than when I went there in 2019. Yeah, it happened fairly frequently. It was usually when I was standing in place when I was walking. Not so much, but like when I was standing at the table at Panzerfaust Armory's table, and every now and then somebody would stop and say, "Hey, man, I love your videos," and stuff like that. And that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. I said this to my wife like years ago. I said, I don't know how many years ago. It was when the channel was really, 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 really tiny. And I was like, babe, can you imagine if somebody like recognizes me, like for my videos, for me doing this? And that was back, when I was like 500 subs or whatever. And like, yeah, now it happens, fairly frequently at shows. And it's amazing. I always love meeting people and everything that way. But I guess I'm digressing here. See the point we're talking about. Oh yeah, gun stores. The last con I was talking about was the more driving to see the same amount of vendors.
Yes. Yeah, you did cover that one.
Yeah. It's also with gun stores, it's easier to build rapport, at a gun store. And I've often given that advice to people who like want to find deals, is that building rapport with a gun store is like it's one of the best things that you can do in order to get stuff, because if they get a gun on consignment or an estate sale or whatever, and they're selling an old Milsurp for whatever reason, if they know, oh yeah, Tom loves these guns, doesn't he? Let's give him a call. Then they'll, if you're friends with them, they'll think about you and they'll call you or text you or whatever, and they'll let you know that they got a good deal on. And that's something really cool, to have at your local shop. But I've tried so hard to do that with my honey hole, the store we went to.
Yep.
They just I don't know what it is. They, I'm like, hey, like call me if you ever get stuff like this, and I'll leave them my card with my number and stuff. And they've never contacted me, which is like really disheartening, because like I've spent quite a bit of money in their store, and I've been in there quite a few times talking to them and everything, and they just don't. I don't know what it is. So it's kind of weird. Like when they got those Argentines in that we went for, they had a few more Mausers like that, and I found out from their Facebook. Like I had to go to their Facebook and see, like, oh shoot, they got a new batch of guns in. And then go there, and a few others sold. So it doesn't always work. You don't always get you can't always build the rapport, because some gun stores are just, they're just run by assholes. You're not gonna maybe not get along with them. Some old timer, the stereotypical FUD gun shop owner.
There is one that I go to. I don't get to go to it as much because I never really spent a lot of time in Cleveland anymore, but I was up there quite a few times, and there was one guy that actually works there. He does remember me. I can walk in, oh hey, how you doing? And we have the same collection interest. So he's like, oh, I don't have very much today, or oh, I got this in. So it does help. And if you buy things from there, sometimes they'll give you better deals because it is on consignment, or it's something that they bought at a show themselves, for $500, and they'll, we'll give it to you for $550 instead of what it's listed as.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes they'll give you deals if you bought one of them a lot before. Very oftentimes, yeah, they'll give you deals, which is cool. Except for the honey hole, they don't. I've talked to them a lot on prices. They don't budge either. I swear, if it wasn't for the deals that walk in their place, man, I wouldn't deal with them at all, probably. Because like, except for when I've bought stuff, I've never gone in there and been like happy that I went in and like talked to them and stuff. Like it's weird. A weird place. Did you get that vibe at all when you were there? Is this just me?
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
It was very strange. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's one of them things you just gotta.
It's quiet.
Experience. Yeah.
The place is quiet, and the building is too big for the amount of stuff that they have. So there's a lot of open space.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that like awkward, like long distance of walking in the door to walking back to where the guns are. And, oh man. And it's very obvious that the staff just does not know guns.
Yes.
They had, I went to the gun shop, man. They had a, oh shoot. I have their website up. I can see what it is. That, the M11, I forgot who makes those. Like the M11, M10 sub guns.
Like a Mac?
Yes. The Cobra, the SWD Incorporated Cobra, or the Mac. They had like a Mac 10 and a Mac 11 carbine. And so I'm like, hey, oh, that's interesting. You have a Mac 10. I was like, is that and I'm like, what's up with that? Yep. And this is like legit. What like the store manager said. She goes, oh yeah, that's the Mac 10. It looks a lot like an Uzi. Like that. That was her like info on the gun, and it's not just because like she just said that. It's like that's just like what she said about everything. She has like the one thing like to say about the gun.
Yeah.
She had an AK on the wall, and I couldn't like tell what it was. It's so far away. That's another thing with that place. The guns are so far away, you can't see them or whatever. It's awkward, and so you can't see the prices. So I'm like, what's the deal with the AK? Is that one of the Century guns? Like one of the Century builds.
Mm-hmm.
And she says yes, but when I go onto the website, it's actually a Zastava. It's not a Century build gun. So I think she just said like yes.
Isn't that where they called an Argentine Mauser a Mannlicher?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because
Yep,
it
it
was
is.
the carbine, because it has
Uh-huh.
the long stock on it,
Uh-huh.
and it's not a Mannlicher stock.
Yep. Yep. They just called it that because it's a quote unquote Mannlicher stock.
Yeah.
Man. Oh yeah, they have a Rockola M1 there, and it's not like it's got like all the post-war, it's got the bayonet lug and stuff, and they want 2,800 for it, and they just got in a few days ago. They got a 1916 Spanish Mauser and 308, and they want $600 for it. So
It's actually an interesting piece of trivia. There is the statue of, I think I've said it's on here before, the statue of Iwo Jima, the iconic statue that's in Washington D.C. of the guys that are raising the flag up. That statue is wrong. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
yeah.
All of the carbines have bayonet lugs on the statue.
Oh.
They did not have bayonet lugs when they raised the flag at Iwo Jima.
Yeah. No, they wouldn't.
So
oh man.
If you look at the statue,
I wish that's a fact I wish I didn't know, because every time I see that statue or image, like it's gonna bug me.
Yes, yeah,
one of those.
Yep, you can look at it. They have little bayonet lugs on it. It's like, that's actually wrong. They used the wrong model M1 carbine.
Man, yeah, that's one of those examples of like when an artist doesn't know guns.
Yeah,
they hire an artist that doesn't know guns.
They
like
got
HK's,
M1 carbines, out of the factory. Like, oh yeah, these have this on it.
Yeah, that's weird though. They at least base it off the picture or something, but yeah, I don't know.
That's a small detail, but
yeah, I guess so. Or maybe it's something to do with like 3D, 2D to 3D or whatever. Because then maybe one of the barrels or something was out of view on the image. But
right,
yeah. Oh, the big thing that everyone talks about when you have a photographer that doesn't know guns. There was that the was it the booklet or whatever that HK put out, and it was showing off their newest P2000 or whatever pistol, and the bullets were loaded in the magazine backwards.
Yep,
on the cover of it. Yeah,
and they quickly tried to like grab them all up from people.
Oh yeah, I bet that's like a collector's item now.
It is. I've actually seen them. Like, it actually is.
Man, yeah, they done goofed. How did that not get caught somewhere along the lines too? Man,
what's obvious to us is not obvious to others.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. So it's funny. I'm looking at these points for gun shows versus gun stores, and we've kind of touched on a lot. Typically, more variety at gun shows. Also, a con of a gun show is that it can vary widely depending on the type of show that it is. I think we kind of talked about that. If you're looking at a gun show that's, at a American Legion or something like that, it's, probably going to be tiny. Man, there was a gun show that I went to a few months ago, and it was like an hour drive each way. And as soon as I pulled up, I'm like, I made a mistake. This was a huge waste of time. Because like that amount of time for me with a baby is like a huge deal, to get that time off. And I walk in there, dude, and it was like there was 3 rows of tables, and like, oh, wow. 8 wide. So there's like just not very many vendors.
Yeah, that's.
And I just walked in there. I walked around. I saw all the displays in like 3 minutes, and it was just like, wow. I forgot what it was to even go in there, but that's one of those things, man. I do it because I have really bad FOMO, gun show FOMO. We gotta come up with another term for that.
Yeah, because I don't know what that means.
Gun FOMO? Oh, fear of missing out.
Okay.
FOMO. It's like I think it's used for like kids and their phones or whatever, but I have it for gun shows, man. Like if I think about a gun show that's happening, I just imagine all these amazing deals or whatever. I'm like, oh, there's so much stuff that I'm missing out, and especially just after being to shows and seeing the deals that were had, that I missed out on. That's another thing too that makes me want to like go more and more. Yeah, gun show FOMO, man. I get that pretty hardcore. It's one of my main motivating factors to get up early on a weekend and go to a show.
When you go to them, do you prefer the rifles that are in racks or do you prefer when they lay them out on the tables flat?
I think much flat on the table, but rifles and racks is a good sign, because it typically means that there's probably just more guns in general if they're on racks, and also they're higher turnover type guys, like So like there's a better chance of finding a deal on a rack, if that makes any sense. Guns can be hidden like in the back of a rack or like in between two guns. Then it could be like a specific, like it could be something special about it or whatever, and it could be looked over because it's on the rack. But if it's sitting on the table, kind of plain, I don't know if I answered that.
No, you did, because I actually am opposite. I prefer when they're sitting in the racks because I can look at a rack of guns, and usually I do it by the front sight, and I can tell what things I want to look at in the rack because I can quickly assess it. And versus if they're all on the table, it takes me a little more time.
All right, yeah, I'm smelling what you're stepping in. Yeah, so when I'm going through a show, I look for racks, and I do that same thing. I look for racks of rifles, and I look at that front end and look for the wood, the old wood that goes all the way down, because if I see a bunch of exposed barrels, I'm like, nope, don't care. But then if I see, rows of whatever,
Yeah,
Danny likes to see rows of that hardwood.
Yep, yeah, that's what I look for, man. Just good wood. Just something about feeling that hardwood in your hands,
No.
Just some good, handsome dark wood,
What were you guys discussing before I made my stupid joke?
Oh, we were talking about gun shows, and if Jared asked if I prefer if it's laying on the table or the rifles in racks. And if I'm doing a speed run, I kind of prefer them. Like if they were all in racks, that would be better because I could just eyeball it real quick and go around. Because when I work a gun show or work through a gun show, I just do I start on one end and just zip through all the aisles, so I can see everything. But if I see a rack and I see old guns in it, which is much easier to see if they're in racks, I'll skip a row or whatever and zoom over real quick, and look at it and then go back to where it was and continue. So I think they sell better if they're on the table versus on racks, though, for some reason. I don't know if you guys ever noticed that at shows, but rifles laying on a table sell better, I think.
It's because you're able to pick it up, manipulate it, and actually see it, versus having to speak to somebody to get it off a rack.
Yeah, I mean, not always is it not able to touch it in a rack, but I think it's just about seeing the whole gun, and you can't really see all of it in the back. I'm trying to think. Oh, there's one show I went to in Topeka. There's a rack of guns, and in the rack, I look at it, and I see a Berthier front end. So I'm like, oh, it's a Berthier. But as I look down, it's got no Mannlicher magazine. So I went, oh shit, that's a LaBelle, So I grabbed it, and it was $800. So I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure somebody would have snatched this up by now, had that been not kind of hidden on the rack like that for a discerning eye.
I watched somebody pull a Ski Trooper M28 out of a rack. They had a rack of Mosins. They were all finished. They were all M39s except for one of them. But from the distance, they all looked the same.
Yeah. And that extra slot in the stock, that's one of those things vendors don't care about,
Yeah, the guy didn't know it was $500.
Oh, yep.
It's
yeah, it's one of those things, man. It's a little minutia.
Yeah.
That matters with Milsurps. A tiny extra marking. I was just talking to somebody who, he sent me pictures from his local store. It's 18 hours away, or else I would be there. I thought about flying there. The pictures of this, the whole inside of this store, is covered with, militaria and helmets and Milsurps. And he was telling me some of the prices. It's damn, I'd go there. But yeah, that's. Forgot
Everybody
the point. Everybody
use your triangulation to figure out 18 hours away from where Danny is located.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Because Anywho, I don't want to say where it was. He asked me not to spill the beans. Of course.
There's one like that where
Of course, Danny. I would never tell me where the M95s are.
You always ask that too. Every gun show I go to, Aaron's like, M95s? ? Every time I'm at a gun show, Aaron asks me that.
And what's the problem that I run into?
They're all 500 plus.
No, if there's any there.
Yeah,
because they're not popular, and that was going to be my con of a gun show.
Well, that's the thing, man. If a gun is less popular, it's going to be there more.
I disagree.
They won't take the time to bring it because
they won't bring the cheap stuff. They're going to bring the stuff they think it's going to sell, and it's going to make money.
So I think it's about price point. I think if you're going to bring a gun to a show, And if you brought a $200 gun or a $2,000 gun, that $200 gun is going to sell, right? Because people are just way more likely to have $200 in their pocket than $2,000, right? And also, like, highly sought after guns or whatever that would sell, like K98Ks, you don't see, like, I have not seen a lot of K98Ks at shows lately. They're just aren't. But I do run across like M95s and stuff, and I think that's just because like they're not that popular. People know what they are and stuff. Just people like don't care. They don't want to hold on to a K98K. They get a K98K, or they don't want to hold on to an M95. If they get a K98K in a trade or in their store or whatever, the owner's probably keeping it. And I've talked to quite a few store owners and pawn shop owners that are like, oh yeah, if we get any of that stuff in, like I'm just keeping it. But in M95, they get that in, they're just flipping it. You know, and I saw Joel do that at the gun show at Wanamaker. He just a kid wanted a number 4. He had a long branch number 4 that was kind of rough, and the kid had an M95, and he had to add some cash, but they did a trade, and he got the M95, and he just put it on the rack. But if that was a K98K, Joel would have kept that K98K. He'd have been like, cool, that's going to my collection. So,
my gun store, one of the gun stores I go to, the guy did that. They're cool with me, and I looked around the store. I'm like, okay, and he's like, hold on, and he went back into his office and come out with like a really really nice Chilean M95 that still has like fire blue on the parts that are supposed to be fired blued. You know, hey, I was not going to sell this. I will sell it to you. And I paid a really good price. It was like $500 for it.
Yeah, for a really nice one, that's probably not terrible. I think they've gone up a little bit. 1995s.
Chilean?
Yeah, make sure that we make clear, because we were talking about two different M95s.
Yeah, mine was a Chilean Mauser that had.
Oh, geez, yeah.
I think
Make sure we're clear.
All the 1895s.
Yeah, the bolt release, and I think the floor plate is fire blued. Or not floor plate, follower.
Oh, yeah.
It still has the fire bluing on it. That's the only one I've seen that has that.
Yeah, that fire bluing is handsome.
Yeah.
On old guns. Like, legit. Yeah. Like, there's a bit of fire bluing on my Red 9. And it just pops. It makes the gun pop. You know, when you got bluing and a couple parts in the white, and then some, like, fire straw bluing, it's just like, that's the good.
Mm-hmm. But he pulled it out of his office. It wasn't on the floor to sell. He brought it out. So
yeah, which is cool. That goes with building rapport at local shows.
Or shops.
Or yeah, that's what I meant. Shops. Yeah, building rapport at shops. Because my friend Matt, who works at a gun shop here, he's done that a couple times. That's how I ended up with my G1234. Because Matt's like, hey man, I got this in the back, and he hands it to me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm effing buying that, dude.
Yeah, right now.
I just haven't had much luck at shows.
Yeah, area is a big thing. I hear from a lot of people that are like, dude, shows in my area, it sucks, you know. And I guess it is. I don't know what it is. It's lukewarm here, you know. It varies. Friggin' Washington though, I've talked about that a lot here, but damn, Washington State, I miss those shows. I don't know what it is about P and Dub, Milsurp scene up there, man. I have a long list of regrets of stuff that I did not buy when I was living in the Pacific Northwest. A very long list.
Which is a weird thing that you would not expect to say. All the Milsurps in Washington.
Yeah, I know. Nobody thinks it. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why they're there. Nobody would expect it.
Maybe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When you were kind of gone, we kind of went over the list. I'll name some of these things that we talked about already if you want to touch on it. Pro of gun shows is that a bunch of vendors, and typically more variety at shows. Con is that the quality of the show can vary widely depending on the location and the company that does it and everything.
Agree.
Yeah. Prices. I was going to say that gun show prices tend to be a little high because there's just a large amount of expenses that vendors take on for doing shows. But then also price can kind of be a pro at a show because a lot of times they'll negotiate. A lot of times, cash is king. You can ask for a cash price or whatever, negotiate. There's a lot of people that pull out a wad of cash, while they're negotiating to try to tempt the seller. That does not work as well as people think it will. That's kind of funny. I don't know if people just think like the vendors are cash strapped or something like that, but I've seen people offer low ball amounts with like the money in their hand, thinking that that's going to be the trick, and like, no, that doesn't work as well as people think it does. It's making a respectful cash offer price, I think, is the best.
Mm-hmm.
Best.
And no, and this is basic negotiation, which doesn't happen a whole lot in the U.S. So a lot of people don't have that haggling mentality.
Yeah. That's exactly one of the things I said. Yeah, like people just aren't used to that. You know, you're used to going into Walmart and just that's the set price. You don't haggle it. You either buy it or you don't.
Yeah.
And people go into shows and I think, they don't understand that there's a bit of negotiation. You can haggle. You can talk to the guy. You know.
Yep.
Like that's Bob. This is Bob's stuff. He owns that right there. It's not like a big corporation or whatever that owns all this stuff that doesn't negotiate. Now with gun stores, one of the points I made was I think there is a higher chance. Agree or disagree with this, Aaron? I'm curious. A higher chance of finding low prices at a gun store.
I would agree.
Yeah, and I said it's because like if a gun show and a gun store had a certain Milsurp, way higher chance that it's a lower price at the gun store, because if it's a great deal at a gun show, other vendors are buying that up and flipping it or taking it home or whatever.
I think the other thing is that there's more of a chance, I would say, that the person at the store doesn't know exactly what they have.
Oh yeah, yep. That's another one. That's another good one. Yeah, a lot of gun shop owners. You know, I don't know what it is. I think at this point, you could chalk it up to just like, I don't know, laziness that they don't know. You know, because everything's out there. It's all on the internet now.
It's lack of
video or something.
Google.
Yeah, like it's not that hard to find out. But there's a lot of guys that just kind of straight up refuse to even Google or whatever. They just don't want to. They don't want to be bothered. Which I mean, hey, those guys, if they don't want to be bothered and their price is low, you know, that's on them. Which, here's a good point. This is sort of a moral question. I don't know if we've talked about this before.
I already know what your question is. It's hilarious because I was going to ask it. Go ahead.
Oh, really? What? Okay. Well, you ask first.
If you see a deal that's screaming good, do you give more money than what it's worth?
Yep, that's it. Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say, man. Yeah.
Nope.
Because I had this discussion with a friend of mine, and he said that for him personally, he would inform the person that it's worth more, like screaming good deal. He would inform the person that, hey, this is worth more than you think. I think it's worth around this, but I'm willing to pay you this, which is higher than your asking price. Will you accept it? Is what he'll typically do. So like if there's a gun, and this happened in Tallahassee. The guy had an SVT 40. He labeled it as SKS, and he wanted $200 for it. Right? So at that point, do you walk up to this guy and say, hey, look, this is not an SKS. This is an SVT. At the time, it was probably worth $1,000 or $1,500 or whatever. Like, hey, this is worth $1,000. It's not worth $200. I don't have $1,000, but I will pay you, $400 or $500 for this. Would you take that? And then, if the person accepted, cool. If, you still got a good deal and the guy didn't get completely ripped off, and if not, the guy can raise his price and not screw himself out of it. That's what he did. I have never been that good of a guy before. I don't think my moral compass is points that far north. Does that thing work? Yeah. What do you guys think of that? What would you do?
I'm not run into that scenario.
I just hand it over.
I would pay their money. Yeah.
I just hand over the cash. This is the way it is. I typically always haggle, always ask for a cash price, always ask for their lowest price. But if it's a screaming good deal, I just hand over the cash. I don't haggle.
I would have to say, if it's going to be a situation where I'll probably never see the person again, I'd probably just take it. But if it's going to be a situation where, like, it's a store that you'd frequent, there's a chance they might figure out that, oh yeah, they fucked you over.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, are you fucking them over if, like, they put it up for sale?
It doesn't matter if you are, they're going to think that.
Well, yeah. I mean, if they think that, probably kind of dumb.
I feel like
there's a morality. That's like a weird Milsurp moral question.
I know that if it was me and I said, "Oh, just so you know, this is a whatever," and it's actually worth $1,000, they're gonna say, I feel like they're gonna be like, "Well, give me $1,000 for it." Like,
Yeah,
no,
and if they
you
do
know.
that, they're pretty enormous douchebags if they do
Mhm.
that. Um, and you'd be screwing yourself out of a deal, which is why I've never done it.
Mhm.
I don't want the chance of losing the deal, you know, just straight up. Uh, yeah, yeah. My good old friend out of Florida, that was his motto. But man, yeah, the guy, I couldn't believe that he had an SVT 40, that he had it. He thought it was an SKS, so he just wanted $200 for it. I talked to the guy who bought that too recently, and he reminded me of the story. It's like, yeah, man, I remember one of those things I'm gonna always remember. Let's see, what else would he go through here? Higher transfer, more driving to see the same number of vendors and or guns at gun stores. So, driving around. Say if you live in a city, not everybody lives in a city or whatever, but say if you do live in a city, um, if you wanted to, I mean, even worse if you lived in a rural area, if you wanted to see a bunch of stores, you get quite a bit of driving. You got like a whole, maybe a whole day's worth of driving going around. Stopping in at each store, pounding the pavement, trying to find it. You got a lot more driving. You could probably get a lot more time too, to see the same amount of stuff going at gun stores. So, maybe that's it. Maybe you have a higher chance of finding a low price at gun stores, but you're going to be doing a lot more driving. Be going around a lot more. It's going to take a lot more time than just going to a show. So,
You do have to pay to get into gun shows.
it's funny. That just doesn't even register with me at all. Like that, like the $10 to get into a gun show is just like
$10? It's like 25 here.
Oh, what the F, dude?
Yeah.
What?
Per person.
Oh man, yeah, that's bonkers, dude. Yeah, so most that I've been to, they're around like $10, and it's a weird thing. I've heard this when people complain about gun shows, they mention the fee quite a bit, but like people are really weird with like what they're willing to spend money on and not. Like people would easily spend like $20 to get their McDonald's delivered or whatever, or whatever food they're ordered delivered, because they just don't want to like drive 10, 15 minutes or whatever. But like going into a show and spending 10, $15 to go into like a big show, which like is like, it's amazing that gun shows even exist. First off, we just take them for granted. And the getting the privilege to be able to go into a gun show, indeed, and it only cost you, cost thousands and thousands of dollars to have everything set up, and you just pay $10 to $15 and you get to take part in it. To me, like that's like a bargain. Somebody just messaged or commented on my gun show video recently about not taking it for granted, because if you live in California. Oh yeah, let's see. I'll read his video. Crymore says, "Don't take it for granted. Most people in California don't go to gun shows since everything has been outlawed for us." Me talking about the Wanamaker show. So that's a good point too. Maybe you just don't even have any shows. So yeah, but 25, dude, that's oof. That's oof level.
It's going to
What
cost
was
us.
Wanamaker?
Yeah.
What, $10? Wanamaker's $10.
It's probably from the size.
That's what I was thinking. They're going to get more people trafficking, and so they lower the prices.
I mean, a lot of the shows, if it's a tiny show in like an American Legion or something, it's like $5. But like it's $10 to $15 is like what most shows around here will charge, and Wanamaker is only 10, which is nuts. They could charge $20, $25, easily for the amount of stuff that they have. It'd still be worth it,
I wonder what the show of shows is.
I don't know. Have to ask Mac.
I think I'm closest to go to that.
Yeah, I forgot how long it is from me. How long have you mapped out shows from you, Aaron? I think you're much closer to Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm. It's about an hour away, hour and a half.
Dude,
oh, wow, you're way closer to me. Okay, never mind.
Dude, what?
Tell me you've never been there.
I've never been.
Oh my God.
I went to Knob Creek though.
I mean, that's really cool. But show of shows, bro. You know how much man liquor stuff will be there?
I don't know.
One?
Probably a lot. I would guess probably a lot, man.
I
think it's like a toss up. I think people go back and forth between like show of shows or Wanamaker being like the biggest, best show in the US. I haven't been to show, so I can't really weigh in on that. But
We talked about this before, Danny, because we were saying you could come over and we would go together.
Yeah, we should meet there because it's at like the midway point between us. Just so you know,
let's see here. We're gonna crash on your couch. Kentucky show.
it's in Louisville.
Yeah.
It's 6.5 hours from me, and it takes
You mean
February
Louisville.
23rd.
You
and it
miss
takes 14 hours to get to your house. So that means it's in between us.
you mispronounce Louisville.
I mispronounce a lot of words.
Louisville. Okay, I'll stop that. Let's see. Yeah, driving through. So like it goes from Kansas City to there. It goes through Mount Vernon, Illinois.
I know those words.
So
If we're planning this, by the way, there's an awesome show awesome store in a town that's another like hour and a half away from there. So if you want to meet there next year, we can go to the show of shows, and then we can go to this amazing store that I'll send you the link to. Just let me know.
Okay.
I'll take a
Let me
weekend.
see this. Yeah, dude, I took PTO 2 days to go to Wanamaker, man. I took the Friday and the Monday
Oh,
off.
sorry, I'm not that close. It's a 4-hour drive.
Okay, well, that's better.
That's
of an
less
excuse.
sad, is what
Yeah,
you're saying?
less sad. Over 2 hours of driving is kind of a big deal. So, like, especially after 4 hours is. I wouldn't do 4 hours for a regular show. I don't even know if it's possible with kids. But let me see when the next.
It's February.
23rd February. Yeah.
February. Yeah. Okay. Because Wanamaker's in April. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of rough though, because in February, dude, it could be real bad weather.
It's in the South. It's in Kentucky.
Dude,
Kentucky's the
You can
South.
still get a lot of ice.
Louisville is like the same like elevation as Kansas City and like St. Louis. I bet they get some snow.
You get some snow, but mostly the issue is ice and slush.
Yep. Let's see. Okay, maybe we'll plan something like that. Maybe we'll think about it.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I could talk about Wanamaker a little bit while we're talking about shows. In case
I kind of figured you were going to, honestly.
Yeah, I should have.
Just wants to brag. It was a humble brag from Danny.
What, that I went to Wanamaker?
Oh yeah. Oh no. Was this in the video where you're just walking past everybody to go inside?
Yeah. If I'm honest,
I saw that and I was like, "What a douche!"
Yeah.
He's just like cutting, like.
Yeah. No. So I wasn't cutting because I had a dealer pass.
Oh, excuse me.
I didn't have all those plebs. I mean, just people that
VIP
were
here.
No, I'm just kidding. No. No. So like that's the thing. Like you line up and you have to buy a ticket to get in. But I bought my ticket on Friday because I had the dealer's pass, and I paid extra. Paid $45 for that dealer's pass on Friday. Only got it because of Joel at Panzerfaust Armory. But yeah, it was a weird feeling. I could tell some people. I didn't know if people were looking at me like, "What the hell is this dude doing cutting?" or if they were looking because I was recording. Because I was holding my phone out. So I didn't know what they were.
What's this douchebag doing?
Yeah, I probably give off the DB vibe. I'm drinking whiskey, by the way.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
people were asking, right?
Yeah, people were saying that we need more podcasts and whiskey.
Broke out the Suntory.
Somebody also said we should probably get guests that have better than dial-up for their internet.
Oh, I wonder who they were talking about.
I don't know. We've had issues in the past.
Oh, I bet it was Mark, because he's on the moon.
Yeah, almost Canada.
Yeah, I forgot about how bad his internet is up there. But yeah, Wanamaker was. I'll tell you guys some of the stories. I don't know if you watched the videos, but yeah, the G43 fiasco was a big one. Like everybody's been talking about that since then, because somebody's liquidating a collection of 30 G43s, and I think the prices were $2,800 a pop, and most of them had scopes. So that's just one of those damn good deals, kind of thing. The repro mounts though, but original scopes. So damn, those got bought up. I saw quite a few that were flipped, that people flipped and put on their tables for quite a bit more. And that was a lot of the show. I'm not gonna say the website. But there was a website guy that was going around and buying up anything that was like a relatively good deal, like something that like like somebody had a cool Milsurp on their table, like something a little bit uncommon or maybe even uncommon or rare, and they were asking retail for it. He was just going around and just slapping down retail money and buying everything, and he's just gonna put it on his site and ask more. So there's guys doing that kind of stuff, man. One of the vendors bought up a couple Johnson rifles that were like going for what I think like Johnson should go for, and then like he bought them for like $6K a piece, and then put them on his table for $9K a piece, which is like, okay, you're gonna be sitting on those for a minute, dude. But that was a lot of the kind of stuff. But there were good deals. I heard from a lot of people commenting on that video that like there were good deals to be had. There's a couple things like I got decent prices on, but yeah, I said two. There's like two tables. What I meant was there's two like vendors at the show that had good deals. And then actually I said that, and then I thought about it later on. I'm like, shit, there's more than just two vendors. There's like 5 when I thought about it, which isn't like a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think there's like 5 vendors there who had like, decent stuff. But man, like if you had like retail, if your stuff was priced retail, like what it was worth, that was the rare table there. People were just asking a lot of money. But everything I bought there, like I negotiated for, I had the cash and
Money talks.
Yeah, money talks at gun shows, man. Especially that's like my number one advice for everybody doing shows. You bring cash. Don't expect to pay credit cards. That's annoying, man. That's annoying. As a vendor who's set up at gun shows and sold stuff, you'll like negotiate, set a price, cool. They'll hand you a credit card. You're like, nope. Thanks for wasting our time, though. I had a lot of people say that, like, oh, I'll go get the cash and come back. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah, I know I'm not going to see you again. Bye. Yeah, that kind of stuff happens. But yeah, Wanamaker's a gigantic Wanamaker in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Wanamaker, it looks weird. It's like. I bet the guy's like comes from a family of German immigrants or whatever, but because the name is like Macher or something, it's spelled like it's a very German looking name, but it's pronounced Wanamaker. And I saw Joe there in 2019.
Joe Mama?
No, but I did see D's there.
D's? Who's D's?
D's nuts.
D's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I saw Joe Wanamaker there, and he's getting up there in age. So I hope he stays healthy and stays around for a while. Because some of these shows, man, like some things they only exist because like the original guy is there that does it. Like collector grade publications. So I hope he stays kicking around for a while, stays healthy because it's a good show. Not too many good shows like that exist. There's only like a handful of them. Yeah. Oh, I got. Did you hear? I got some trivia.
Oh yeah, I was waiting for that.
Okay, you guys ready for it? Mm-hmm. Some terrible
Probably
trivia.
not.
Trademark. Terrible trivia, because this is going to be terrible. I know I'm going to make mistakes and stuff with this, but hopefully it's less terrible as the last time. We had Tom. Tom would do a very good job at this, but okay. First question, Aaron. I'm looking at you with this one.
All right.
The Siamese Mauser's iconic dust cover design came from which Japanese military rifle?
Type 30.
That is wrong.
Fuck. I always get it wrong.
Yeah, because Japanese nomenclature or whatever.
No, it's not. There's 2 of them, and I always pick the wrong one.
I mean, they got a few.
No, it's not the 38s. It's the ones before them. I know it's not the 38. It's the one before them.
It's the 35.
Okay,
is that right?
Did you Google that?
No.
Okay.
Because I didn't know what it was, and he said it's a 38, and I'm like, it's not the 30, and it's not a 38. There's one in the middle. It's a 35.
Yeah, I always forget.
So no, I didn't Google that, but he needed to say what he did, or I wouldn't have got it.
Because the 38s have moving dust covers, and I don't. The 30
didn't.
The 30 had nothing, right?
Yeah, it was a hook safety gun. It didn't have one.
Right. So the 30 had nothing. The 35 had the mechanical.
Yeah, the like manual one.
The manual.
And then the 38 got the automatic. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I always forget
Nice.
it's the 35 because that one wasn't really a thing. It didn't. It was like a prototype, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, they exist. I've seen a
It's not like
few
a
like that
prototype.
own
I
them.
guess it was just like a intermediate.
Super short-lived, maybe.
Yes, it's kind of like the commission rifle. It was around for a minute, and then it was gone. Commission rifles were around for a lot longer than 3 years, but
Yeah. I'd love a Type 35.
a better example would be the 7184. It was only around for 4 years, and then it was gone.
Yeah, I wish 35s were around in 7184 numbers.
Yeah.
Because I think aren't 71s a lot harder to find than 7184s?
In my experience, yes, because I
Yeah.
have a beautiful 7184, and I've only ever seen a couple 71s.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure they sold off most of their 71s, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Probably. I'm not sure.
Because everybody always assumes the 7184 is like a upgrade, but it's not. Like they're
It's
not
not.
related.
No, they just have the same parent design, so to speak, which is the 71. But they're not upgraded. They're a separate rifle.
But it makes sense if you're going to have an improvement of the original design and it's a separate rifle, then yeah, you would just throw or get rid of the other ones.
Yeah.
Not throw away necessarily, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They would surplus them.
To Chile.
And
China.
Oh, that's where they all ended up.
China.
China.
Yep.
Man, that was more relevant when he was president still. Here we go. Next question. Which country was the first to adopt the Craig Jorgensen rifle?
The Craig?
Yeah.
Denmark.
Sweden.
That was Denmark.
Frick. Oh, wait. Sweden wasn't an independent, was it?
Sweden.
You're thinking of Norway.
Yeah,
Damn it.
Sweden had the Yarman, and then they went to the.
I'm thinking of Norway,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, Sweden got Norway in the Napoleonic War. And then, in like the early 1900s, Norway kind of like got their independence. But yeah, Norway was semi-independent at the time, which is why they adopted the Krag instead of the Mauser.
But they had an agreement to use the same cartridge.
Alrighty, here's the next one. All right, name the 4 auto pistols that were either developed, adopted, and or at least named after the year 1935.
Oh, it's pistols, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Name the 4 auto pistols that were developed, adopted,
there's the French
and or
one
named after the year
that didn't have any
1935.
ammo for a long time. The 1935S.
Huh? That's one.
1935A is the other one.
That is correct.
The high power.
That is also correct. You're gonna kick yourself for this one if you don't get it, Jared.
I don't know.
Oh, it's the Radom, the Viz 35.
Yep.
I have one,
55.
and I love mine.
I'm glad. I hope it actually works. You know, I realized afterwards when I shot my Viz 35 and it jammed a bunch. I was shooting 147 grain flat nosed.
Yeah, they don't like that.
Maybe, I don't know, but I did shoot it through Joel's, and Joel's Radom just ate it all up.
What was the one that puked apart when you shot it the first time?
Wait, on that day in that video?
No, there was one that you took out to the desert and lost something.
Oh, that was the Dryzy?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different one. Yeah. Oh man, that sucked.
I have one of them too.
Oh, I thought I paid $80 for a replacement for another Dryzy mag at a gun show. Fucking thing doesn't work. Doesn't fit.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, shit. It doesn't fit the Dryzy, and it doesn't fit. So I'm like, the 1900 looks just like it. Doesn't fit the 1900 either. Because I figured it'll be one or the other at least, right? And 1900 mags are worth $80. So I was like, okay, either way it'll work. Doesn't fit either one. So I don't know what the hell it goes for. And there's not a whole lot of pistols that use that lockup. It's like shit. It's probably some random Chinese mag or something, or I don't know. So I'm still on the hunt for an original Dryzy mag that doesn't cost an arm and a leg.
Sorry.
If you see 2, get 2, because I don't think mine's original, but I only paid $199 for the gun. So on Gunbroker, I was the only bid.
Yeah. Oh, I know a guy who has one. I think I can meet up with him tomorrow and get one. Because I said this to a friend of mine, and he was like, "Oh, I have an extra one." It's like, oh, okay.
An extra mag?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, he's been a collector for a while. He's got some like random stuff. Alrighty.
Wow, we
Next
got more.
question. Which country put ballistic information on the stocks of their military rifles.
You're gonna softball something in like that.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Even I know this crap.
You should have led with that.
Maybe that. Yeah, I didn't put these in level of hardness. I probably should have.
Level of
Yeah,
hardness.
maybe some viewers, maybe some viewers would have, think about this, see if they get it right. That is very softball. I'm not even gonna let you guys answer that because I know you already know it. What bolt-action rifle was?
This is gonna keep going. All right, cool.
I only have two more. What bolt-action? I had like 3 months to come up with questions, man. It's been a while since the last one. What bolt-action rifle was designed after World War II and marketed to countries that could not afford automatic rifles?
I know this. Do you know it, Aaron?
Repeat the question, please.
What bolt-action rifle was designed after World War II and marketed to countries that could not afford automatic rifles? If it helps, this gun had rear locking lugs.
Yeah, I know what it is, but I don't know the model name.
M47.
Damn it, it's Madsen.
Yep.
Correct. Correctamundo.
Where did most of them go, Danny?
China.
Mm-mm.
Colombia.
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 I don't know what accent that was supposed to be.
I don't know either. I'm very tired and just full of life.
Yeah, let me finish this whiskey in my glass and we'll get to the next one. What is the smallest 7.65 millimeter pistol used by the German military during World War I?
Well, obviously, it's the little tiny pin thing that's like in from Battlefield 1.
Well, see, that's not a 7.65 pistol.
Oh, wait. I didn't hear what you said then, I guess.
It's got to be 7.65 millimeter.
Oh, damn. There's like 40 of those.
Mm-hmm. The last question, man.
It's a Bergman, Bayard. I don't know the model. They call it. It's Bayard on the grip. Are them in 7.65?
I know you can imagine it, but you have to say it. Yeah, they made them in 7.65 and 380 auto.
Talk about boring.
Is it a 1908?
Yep.
Hey.
The Bayard, often called the Bayard Piper, 1908.
Yeah.
Oh, Piper. I've heard that name before.
I was thinking it was a.
Yeah, Piper is the last name of one of the guys that founded FN, I believe.
That was said with confidence.
I'd try not to say anything with confidence. I've been wrong way too much.
I couldn't remember if that was in 25 ACP or 32 ACP.
It's 32. The thing looks like, dude, I got one now. And the thing looks like a 25 pocket pistol. Like, it looks like a small 25 pocket pistol.
Like a baby Browning.
Yeah, it's like baby Browning size, but it's in 32. And they also made the exact same gun in 380 within the same size.
Which
is nuts.
Yeah.
That's got to be one of the smallest 380s. Maybe not the smallest 380 ever made, because I think that was some random commercial gun or whatever. But like of the time, that thing was tiny. But it was made. Yeah, it was made in Belgium.
What is trivia? What is the German? Pronunciation of 380.
Trivia? You're supposed to know.
No, I don't know. I don't know the exact word to say.
Oh, it was 9mm Kurtz.
Kurtz,
is what they called it. Yeah.
Because I actually have brass that says 9 Kurtz on it.
Yeah, that's the good. But anywho, the Bayard 1908 is absolutely tiny. I can only get my middle finger on the grip of the gun. So like you have your typically you have your 3 fingers on the grip, but like, dude, I can just my like ring finger hangs off the grip. That's how tiny it is. So like it's only my middle finger on the grip, like finger on the trigger, thumb wrapped around the back. And it's like there's only two fingers holding on to this little thing. It's nuts.
What's the mag capacity?
5, I think.
5. Wow, that's a lot. That's like small.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's very, very tiny. And it's got the same barrel spring orientation as the 1900, so it's barrel on bottom. So that kind of helps with recoil, like a super low bore axis. Yeah, and they were in Belgium. They were made in Belgium, and the Germans took them over in World War I. And that's one of the rare occurrences during World War I, at least, of the Germans, of a German occupation gun, of a gun made under occupation of the Germans during World War I. Because like that happened to a ton in World War II, but like in World War I, it didn't happen super often. And the one I got is an occupation gun. It has a little like Prussian eagles on the slide in the frame, which is pretty neat. That was the number one reason why I bought it. I was like, oh, it's German, cool, I'll take that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also have a bayonet made by Bayard, and it's got the same like guy on the horse logo.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the same guy on the horse logo on the bayonet. It's a 84-98 bayonet made for the Germans during World War I, which is like pretty neat. It's made by the same like company that made the pistol.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I was pretty happy to find it when I had it. I need to do a video, man. I had a guy. He's been asking for like years, coming on my videos for years, asking for a German bayonet video.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not that big into bayonets, so like I've never been motivated to like make the video. And also like I don't know how many people that watch and want to do it. Like if I get a ton of people asking for it, then I'll be more likely to do something. But I feel like just this guy's commitment, perseverance for asking for years. I feel like I need to do it for him. But maybe if I get some other people that want it to see it, I'll do a video in German bayonets. There's one German guy on YouTube who's making some pretty good quality, informational videos in German bayonets, but he stopped. Life got in the way or something. He went to university and he stopped making them. But
yeah, I used to watch that guy. He had a bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Imperial German bayonets?
I think so, yeah. I had a channel name, something like that.
Yeah, I'm still subscribed to him. He hasn't made a video in a year.
Yeah.
But they were really good. They're only like 5 minutes long a piece, but he really covers stuff.
Yeah, which like when you're talking about a bayonet, that's kind of all you need.
Yeah.
It's 5 minutes to talk about them, but I wonder if they need a license or anything over there.
A license to ill?
Word.
He has 28 videos, and yes, I just counted.
Yeah, I reached out to him. I was wondering if he wanted to do like a little like collab on something, and he just said basically he was starting school and starting college, and he was gonna be too busy. So yeah, he just fell off, man. R.I.P. another channel. I mean, hopefully he comes back, but if not, R.I.P. another decent channel. Yeah. I mean, I guess we covered pretty much the topic, gun stores versus gun shows, unless you have something that you wanted to talk about specifically, Aaron, because I don't think we heard a lot from you.
Yeah, unfortunately, I just coughed in the mic. Sweet. It's probably not been. It's been a little while since we have done one of these. Have you guys bought anything?
Oh yeah, we haven't done that in a while.
I had to buy a roof, so I've been unable to buy Danny's things that he doesn't care about anymore.
Oh yeah, I've been hitting Jared up with stuff. Like, hey man,
it's been really painful
for me before I sell it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Danny, how about that M95?
I've got all this cool shit. Do you want it? Yeah. Can you buy it now? No.
Just saying, Danny.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Oh yeah, I did buy an M95 Longboy.
No. You have one that I want.
An M95 Longboy?
You better still have it.
Is that the one you sold me?
No, never mind. Not an M95.
M91?
M91.
Yeah, I bought that.
Oh yeah, it's got the JSE on it.
Yeah, it's in my safe.
I'll kill you both.
No, he specifically said this is the one that Aaron wants. But I did buy an M91 from him.
Dude, if I ever found a nicer World War I Mosin example or whatever, like I would. You would.
If you ever found a German one, you would sell it.
Oh, yep, exactly. That's what I would do. That's about If I found nice.
Because I talked you into the
one.
JSE one because the other one that you found was a German one, but it was Finnish as well.
Yeah, which that's not a big turnoff to me. Like that's kind of whatever. But yeah.
But you also knew you were like, this is a guaranteed seller item.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I figured it was something semi-special.
It's very hard to find a capture Mosin that is not Finnish as well.
Yeah. It's funny. I forget I have that thing like all the time. I was just talking to somebody who's big into Mosins, and I just told him the only Mosin that I have was a Finn, the M39. I just completely forgot I had that M91. Yeah.
An Imperial M91. I don't remember who's the maker.
I think it's Tula. It's like 1908,
alright.
I think. 1908 Tula, something like that. Yeah. Other than that, I don't think it's like super special. Just that little tiny JSE mark. I wonder how much stuff like that is, slipped through the cracks.
Or the stuff that Gage just bought. Remember that thing?
What do you mean?
He has the Mosin that's been converted to 8x50R.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's, man, Gage's stuff. Gage has got some cool shit.
For those that don't know, the Austro-Hungarian Empire very, very briefly toyed with the idea of converting Mosins to 8x50R because they were so short on weapons. And eventually they just said, fuck it, and issued the Mosins as is, because you can chamber 8x50R in it. It just is not very accurate.
Yeah. That's a pretty cool gun. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I'm into, is captured and converted stuff like that. Like, Chris just bought it. It came up on Simpsons. I saw it. It sold friggin' fast, but it was a Belgian 1889 Mauser that was converted to 8mm Mauser by the Germans.
Yeah.
That's neat. Like, I don't really super want like a Belgian Mauser, but like that's one that I would own, because that extra little history and conversion
weird
and stuff,
right?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it was a really good price too. So, man, that's one of those sites that like stuff just, it's weird. Stuff will sell just super fast
What is
on
it?
like under price. Actually, I said Simpson, but it was Liberty Tree. Actually, now that I think about it.
Well, I mean, Simpsons does it too.
Yeah, they both do.
Yeah, Simpson does. But man, Simpson's been big time Swiss seller as of late, man. Like, seems like at least half the stuff they're putting out is like K31s and K11s.
They must have had a big. Well, they do imports, so I'm sure they probably had a good deal or something.
Yeah.
They're very tasteful on how they import mark stuff.
Yeah, that's what Mike told us, right, Danny?
Oh yeah, for his one
Stuff
gun.
out
Yeah.
of
I don't know how they do their stuff though. I've never seen one.
I think he said he put it underneath the wood line.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's like a special thing or if they do that for all like their K31s or whatever.
My 1908 Swedish pistol is really nicely done. It's like by the magwell, so you can't see it. It's on the bottom. It's really tasteful.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Recent purchases, I've been getting into high powers as of late, so that's been just kind of stuff that I've been going after.
I think the Labelle is the last thing that I bought.
Yeah, you've been real responsible as of late.
I did buy something that was discovered from one of our members in the Discord.
Yeah.
You know about this, Danny. I bought a bayonet. I bought 2 bayonets, but the specific bayonet is a very uncommon one.
I'm drawing a blank. I don't remember this.
It is an MP34 bayonet.
Oh, neat.
Oh, okay. Okay.
They look just like an M95 bayonet, but they're slightly different in terms of they have a different maker mark on them.
Huh. That's interesting. An M95 or an M34 parts gun popped up recently. That was pretty tempting.
Are those the Solothurn ones?
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
I saw a friend on the Discord messaged me, and he's like, "Hey, there's these bayonets, and this looks like an M95 bayonet," and I'm like, "Yeah, it does look like one, but I've never seen that maker mark before." So we looked it up, and it was like, "Oh no, that's an MP34 bayonet," and it was like, "Yeah, I'll buy it." I think it was $100.
Yeah. That's probably a good deal. I saw a guy who had a 34 and he was looking for a bayonet for a long time.
Yeah, I thought it was something. I'm like, I'm not going to see one of these again. I'm
yeah,
not even
you just have to do that.
I'm not a bayonet guy, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to see one of these again. Buy it. And then I also got Sam a bayonet on that same deal. There was I think it's a Spanish bayonet. Spanish Mauser bayonet, but
Yeah.
the reason he liked it a lot was because the scabbard wasn't chewed up because they're leather, and it
Yeah.
wasn't like coming apart.
Yeah, leather scabbard ones they're very iffy.
Yeah, well, he
Which is
said
a shame.
he's never seen the pictures I sent him after I got it too. Is like he's never seen one that's not like busting apart or just missing pieces. And this one was actually in pretty good shape. It's still dry. It needs to be probably I don't know what's that term, wet. I don't know.
Uh,
That doesn't
Needs-
sound like the right term.
Needs leather dressing.
Yeah, there you go. But like it's dry, but it's not coming apart, which is actually surprising. Oh, and then I do have an update for everybody as well. I've got word back from RCC brass, and my Lee Navy brass should be made this month.
Whoa.
I was actually wondering about that myself, so I'm glad you said it.
That's some fast turnaround time there. What is that? 10 months?
10 months, yes.
Yeah. Well, what did they say to expect? What was that email, the automated email or whatever when you ordered?
So when I ordered, it was right before the massive winter storm that just destroyed most of Texas. Most of East Texas, I should say. And they're in that area, so it was literally, my order was placed on the 1st of March, and at like right after that, like they lost power. And then when they came back, they couldn't get material because everybody was scrambling to find metal and stuff like that, so they couldn't get brass. And then they got brass delivered, and it was the wrong thickness, so they had to send it back. And when they got it back after being retreated, it was still wrong, and they could only use it to produce 22 caliber rounds. So they were backed up, just crazily backed up for anything above 22s, or like 223, and they were really I don't remember the cartridge. It was some hunting cartridge that's very popular right now. 243? That doesn't sound right.
It is.
Is that really popular right now?
Yeah.
They said that they were getting tons of orders for 243, and it was really backing them up. But the lead time when I placed the order was 90 days, and it's been 10 months.
Good thing you didn't have a Lee Navy emergency. I need 6mm stat. Yeah, that's nuts though. It does sound like it's out of their hands, but
Still sucks.
probably yeah, it's probably at least you're like locked in with your price, right? Like they still have to do it or whatever. They can't up you. So
They've not changed anything.
that's a good thing. With inflation or whatever, you got a discount, kind of.
And it's probably, I wouldn't be shocked if their prices do go up because of the amount of change in price of raw material.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
The raw material market's crazy right now in manufacturing that I'm in. It's nuts.
Yeah, we're in the middle of the everything bubble, man.
If you knew how to drive a truck and you wanted to do it, you could make as much money as you get from one right now.
Yeah, there's quite a few positions like that.
I got me one of them CDLs.
Oh yeah, is that the one you got to get the yearly physical for?
Yeah, it's every 2 years. Well, I guess it depends. If you have a health condition, it's every year. But if you're not unhealthy, it's every 2. I just had mine like a month ago.
Well, that's something, man. Should be trucking, especially during the holidays. I bet, man. I've been trying to buy all my Christmas gifts like way ahead of time because I'm assuming there's going to be crazy.
Oh, it did go up.
Delivery stuff.
Danny, it did go up. So
what is it now?
I paid $538 a case, right? It's now $585.
Ah, nice.
I thought it would go up.
Hopefully they actually go through it. They don't like issue you a refund or something, and because at some point their margins get pretty tight.
I'm gonna tell you that's a $30 increase.
Yeah, it was a minimum order, wasn't it?
Yeah, you have to do a minimum order of 50, which for my Lee Navy, that's more than I'll ever shoot in its entire lifetime that I'll own it, probably.
If you can find primers and powder right now.
I already have that.
Nice. That's honestly the main reason I'm going to the gun show tomorrow.
Just need brass.
People are still asking crazy prices for primers and shit, man.
You can't
Just
get them.
need brass, and then we'll blow up a Lee Navy on camera.
There we go.
Tell you what, Danny, you'd never get more views in a video.
Oh yeah, that's true, man. Yeah, we'd go viral. Idiots, YouTube idiots, blow up Lee Navy.
Pay for my reconstructive face surgery.
Yeah,
Priceless rifle destroyed.
I'm telling
piece
you.
of history.
I'm telling you, so many people are like, "Why are you doing this?"
Because they're not fun if you can't shoot them.
Yeah,
I have rifles that I can't shoot, and it's not fun.
That's why I sold them and
Yeah,
bought more
kinda how
M95s.
kind of how I feel about my Danish Krag. Kind of remembering why I sold my last one, because it does just kind of sit there.
Do you need ammo now?
It's cool looking.
I mean, it's not like I would shoot it tomorrow if I needed ammo, but
You still haven't done the controllable carbines for all the brass I had to make you.
yeah, I still have that. I have to film. Man, I was just thinking about. I haven't shot a gun since like May. I think it was May.
Oh, that's less than me. It's been like a year and a half for me.
Yeah, dry
Shot
spell.
last weekend.
Rub it in our faces, why don't you?
It was the first time in a while too. So
Yeah.
I went to my friend's range and we shot.
Yeah, I need to. Hopefully, so maybe I talked to a guy, Milsurp Mike. He's got a Milsurp Mike channel, who just bought some land here close to me, and he was talking about converting some of it to a shooting range, like after hunting season, because he doesn't want to scare off all the critters. So after this season, I'm hoping we can get something set up. I have like this dream, and I talked to him a little bit about it without like overwhelming him. But I'm like, dude, we got to get like a bolt action shooting competition thing, and like shoot targets, and time it and whatever, and kind of compare, and because that's like I've been wanting to do that forever. So
I just got sent something about that. A friend of mine, the guy I went to the range with, or to his house where he has a range, military shoots twice a year. This place holds a classic military style shooting event. Our military shoot takes you along a course through our wooded property to 10 shooting stations, which utilize 3 shooting positions and a variety of targets. Firearms are open to any pre-1950 bolt action open sight military rifle.
I bet they said pre-1950 just for the Madsen M47.
What military rifle was made post-1950 that's a bolt action?
Are you ready?
Well, I mean, any sniper rifle, but yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's not a sniper rifle, but it's a bolt action rifle.
Yeah.
The M958.
Oh yeah, the Brazilian. Yeah.
The Brazilian Mosquefal. It's a Brazilian 1908,
Oh, yeah.
Danny?
Yep. Which is a Brazilian FR8. Oh yeah, I guess the FR7 and FR8 ain't allowed to that post 1950.
Oh yeah, I guess not either. Yeah, those are post 1950.
If you Google Brazilian M958 because you don't know what you're talking about, you get bikinis.
Oh,
Are you sure it's an M958?
I don't believe you, sir. I am going to have to Google this.
I will screenshot this. If you want.
958.
Oh, it's not maybe it's 968.
I want to see it, so I'm not like
M958 glasses came up for
It's
me.
M968.
68. Okay, that's fine. Okay, I know what those are.
So it's actually
Hey.
1968.
Yeah,
There's a performance tool that came up for me from Amazon. And then the next thing is the M Muscaton.
So it's
we got different targeted ads, bro. Somebody
well,
Google is directing you towards something else.
for me, it's a ladies bikini thing, and then below it is Ian, and then a bayonet. But
Dude, I have no bikinis on here. I just Googled M968 and
I did Brazilian M.
oh, okay. Here, let me try it. Okay.
Brazilian M958.
Oh, M958. Okay, Brazilian M968. Let's see. Okay, it's the actual gun now. M958, and there we go. There it is. Yep.
See?
Yep.
So suck it.
I would like to have one
dude.
of these. They're neat looking.
Yeah, it actually was neat looking.
The
Right?
bikini.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the gun. mean, it's basically a Brazilian FR8. If we're gonna it's a similar idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I thought of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael called it a Brazilian FR8, which I was like, that is kind of exactly what it is, actually. Huh. I wonder which one came first.
Yeah, I don't know.
I got a Brazilian 1908 34.
I would bet
need
you
to do
the
some
FR8s
research
and
on.
FR7s came first because this is 1968 when they did this.
Oh, that's really late.
Yeah, this is one of the last bolt-action rifles ever made for
If
the
it wasn't-
military.
If it wasn't Brazil, I'd be like, whoa, that's crazy. But yeah, no, Brazil, they're still issuing there's a picture of police fighting in the favelas.
With the
with
Madsen.
Yeah, with the Madsen and some a bunch of they pull out some old shit out of the armory and they issue those guys to. Yeah.
Yeah, the police still use the M968s, which is why you haven't seen them very much in the market.
That's why. But why though?
I don't know, man.
There needs to be a Brazilian Mauser book. I don't know why that doesn't
There's
exist.
so many versions.
Yeah.
It would be helpful.
There's an Argentine Mauser book. There's a Chilean Mauser book. There needs to be a Brazilian one. That's another big one. There are lots of different types of Mausers and versions and makes. Even just within 1908/34s, there's a lot of different types of those because there's the domestically made ones and then there's the CZ made ones. So there should be a book. Somebody should have done that. But that's one of those things. You got to find somebody who's got there's a perfect storm of stuff that has to come together for a book to be made. You have to have a guy who's smart enough to write a book, to put one together, and he also has to have enough money to buy all the guns and everything to put in the book, and then have enough have the passion and the time and everything to research and find out all the information and reach out and whatever. However these guys, find the info they put in the book. And it's just not super common,
And he has to speak Portuguese.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And then being able to speak that language helps quite a bit. It's interesting. I saw what?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say at Wanamaker, I saw Darren Weaver again. He was there in 2019 when I was there. And unfortunately, I just bought his. He did a book on German plastics, the German plastic, the big light parts and everything that they made during World War II, which is such a little niche topic. And I just started getting interested in German plastic, so I bought his book. But then at the gun show, he had that book for sale, and I was like, shit, I should buy it from him and then get him to sign it, because he'll sign whatever books. But I asked him a question about because he wrote the book Desperate Measures, which is about German last ditch in quotations. Is about German last ditch weapons, and I asked him a question about a VK98 that was at the show, and I was like, hey, did you take a look at this? Do you know anything of it? And he was starting to give me some information, and he kind of stopped and he said something like, oh shit, he's like, I need my book to tell you, but which I thought was interesting, even authors and everything are just human too, they can't remember everything, because that reminded me kind of with what Othaya said about remembering stuff from the videos. I have to watch my video to. Anywho, what were you gonna say, Aaron?
I was gonna say, so I was looking at the Mauser Model 1908 Brazilian on Wikipedia, and I was like, oh, let's see where it was used in service and stuff. And it says in the early 50s, surplus Brazilian 1908 rifles and short rifles were surplused to the Dominican Republic, where the rifles were replaced with Dominican markings and designated the model 1953. And then it says, during the U.S. intervention in the Dominican Civil War, these Mauser rifles were found to be very effective. And it was like, wait, what? What the fuck, Dominican Civil War? U.S. intervention? So I went and looked it up. In 1965, in April of 1965, the U.S. joined the Loyalist faction of the Dominican Republic Civil War.
Yeah.
And the Loyalists had the AMX-13 light tanks, those weird-looking export tanks from France.
2-man autoloader.
Yeah, they had those. It was a Marine detachment that was mostly taking place in the fighting.
It's going to be the Marines because they don't have to be approved by Congress or some goofy thing.
The casualties, the Loyalist faction had 2 P-51 Mustangs shot down.
They had P-51 Mustangs.
In 1965.
Wow. You know, it's funny. I wonder how much stuff, like American World War II surplus, was like destroyed, you know, after the war. Especially by us, because like
I didn't know this was a thing.
Oh, the Dominican Civil War?
No, or that we intervened.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you look up. We've been over there for quite a bit. Like, you know how like the U.S. was in Haiti for like 20 years or whatever? Like that just doesn't even surprise me anymore. Just like, that's what we do, I guess. But
it says this was the first time the U.S. intervened in the
Dominican Republic?
Latin America in more than 30 years, as far as a direct military intervention. They did a lot of influencing, but there wasn't a direct military intervention in more than 30 years at that point. So since the 30s, I guess.
Yeah, Nicaragua.
Yeah. Apparently, I guess the United States also occupied the Dominican Republic. What the frick? From 1916 to 1924? How do I not know these things? How does the U.S. not know these things? We captured it during World War I? So while people were fighting and dying in Europe, we were subjugating the Dominican Republic? Oh, they changed the name to Santo Domingo. I've heard that name before.
Yeah, so have I. I think it's interesting.
Oh, it's part of the Banana Wars. Do you know about that, Danny?
Yeah, I have one of those Dominican Mausers. They're typically in really, really good shape because they refinished them, and there's like hardly any markings on them though. They scrubbed the crests and everything, so there's just like a serial number on mine
and a date, if I remember.
Something like that. Oh, and a date and serial number, I think. But yeah, they did it way late. It's crazy. In the 50s, you're buying up bolt actions. In the 50s, you're a little bit behind.
Dang, man. I didn't know all about this at all. So this was after the Spanish-American War. They just went to town in Latin America because there wasn't anybody else that was going to stop them. So they did military interventions in Cuba, Panama, Honduras, Nicaragua, Mexico, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic.
If you want to learn more about it, watch Between Two Wars.
Well, that was quite the digression.
Was it?
Time Ghost. Time Ghost is the YouTube channel. They do Between Two Wars.
Can't hear anybody anymore.
Oh, I can hear you. Can you not hear me, Danny?
Oh, hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, geez. Okay. I don't know what happened.
You didn't hear my whole point.
No, sorry. I don't know when I... Okay.
Have you heard about the Banana Wars, Danny?
Oh, yeah.
So I wasn't aware that we had done military interventions in Cuba, Panama, Honduras, Nicaragua, Mexico, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic.
Yeah. That's pretty nuts, right? For cheap bananas.
They're invading countries in the middle of World War I.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's the perfect cover, right?
Yeah, what are you going to pay attention to? The Somme, the British losing 60,000 men in one day, or us taking over a little island? I mean,
You're recruiting tons of people already and deploying them and everything. You got the budget. Makes sense.
Yeah. Hey, while we're going that way, let's make a little...
Took over Haiti, invaded and took over the Dominican Republic, Nicaragua. Holy cow.
See?
And it's where the term Dominican Republic comes from, because the two fruit companies that controlled Honduras demanded that the United States intervene.
Also, it's just weird that a fruit company controlled anything, like a country.
I mean, it's the majority of their income and economy. I mean,
yeah.
Is it weird that a diamond mining company controls a lot of... Oh, never mind. I won't say anything.
Oh, don't say the words. Don't say the beer. Oh, no.
Oh, we're saying the Bears. It's just a really bad Chicago accent.
The Bears.
Right, Danny? The Bears.
That's right. The Bears.
The
Nothing
Blood
else
Diamonds. Oh, close. Never mind. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, no. Dude, have you ever looked up, Blood XYZ? Dudes, we're totally digressing, but I hope people don't mind. Blood XYZ, Blood avocados, as one of them.
Oh, the chocolate industry is a
Oh, yeah,
terrifying,
blood chocolate.
terrible
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah. Chocolate is super bad, but avocados are also like, I forgot what percentage it was, but something like 40% or whatever of avocados in the U.S. have been imported illegally, like smuggled in through avocado cartels.
Yeah.
It's green gold. It's kind of nuts. Anyhow.
The quinoa is another one.
You mean quinoa?
Is that how you say it?
No, it's spelled like quinoa, but it's
Well, the one I was reading about for that one was that it's a really common foodstuff in South America, and because it became popular in the U.S., they started exporting all the food out of South America. It's sad, so I shouldn't be laughing, but like,
oh man,
you're laughing at the ridiculousness.
Even during the shoot, what was it? The big famine, the big Chinese famine in the 60s. Forgot what that was called.
The Great Leap backwards.
Great Leap, yeah. The Great Leap Forward. Even though they were starving, China was still exporting rice because they wanted to look like they had a surplus and they were doing good and they were exporting rice. So they're exporting even though, they're starving. Oh, same thing with the Bengal famine, actually.
That was the Great Leap Forward. That was the one where he's like, we'll take all the farmers' tools, melt them down into steel, and we're going to become a steel industrial nation.
Yeah, and then also the sparrows was a big part of it too. I don't know if you heard of that. They decided that sparrows were bad because sparrows ate like any sort of grain that was like left over on the ground, or they were eating it off the, whatever. So they decided to go and kill all the sparrows as a big like national campaign. So they killed like bazillions of sparrows. They almost made them extinct in China at least. And guess what they found out? That the sparrows also ate all the bugs that love grains.
Wasn't there a huge flood too? Like right in the middle of it, like a dam broke or something?
I think there was a flood around then that I'm remembering.
That was also like a huge part of it too.
Yeah. I mean that is one of it. Also, just the collectivization of the farms was like a huge thing because take away people's incentives to work, and then But there's a guy that's actually going to be hopefully writing an article for the Milsurp World website relatively soon, talking about the guns of like early communist China, like in the 50s and stuff. Like during the Cultural Revolution, everything, the different guns, because they used. It's kind of interesting. The Chinese communists, they used like a large assortment of different and unique guns, including like the one that I have, the Arasaka that was rechambered in 7.62 by 39. They just did a lot of weird stuff like that and reused a lot of stuff. I think they manufactured Japanese 6.5 ammo for their Arasakas, I think, because there's some factories over there already. But yeah, hopefully that article will be up soon and be some pretty cool information about that, because I think Chinese guns is underappreciated.
No, it's because it's associated with cheap garbage. That's
yeah, probably
it's the association. Just like how Japanese guns were not really associated with quality.
Japanese or French or Italian or Austro-Hungarian.
Yeah. Anyway, I think I'm gonna go get a drink.
Yeah, it's getting late here.
Oh yeah, it's 11 over there, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Past 11. Yeah.
We've been
we can wrap
for
up
over 2 hours. So
hey, this is good. This is a good long one for the folks. It's a feast or famine, so we're at a feast right now. But cool. Well, I'm glad we could get together and do this finally. We've been talking about doing this for a while. And
hopefully the next time we record, it's not just Annie, because I've died from a 6mm Lee Navy explosion.
Yeah. Get it on camera. You record your first shots, man, for real. Because like I was telling Zach this. Oh, Zach came over a couple days ago. Because Zach shot his Italian Vetterli in 6.5. He shot straight up PPU in it.
Yeah, he's a crazy person.
Yeah, I was like, dude, next time you do that, record it. First off, just so that you could prove to people that you shot it, and secondly, if it does blow up, you got to have that on camera. So yeah, when you shoot it, you got to record it. Record every shot.
Yep. There's people at work telling me that I needed to sandbag it and then like just have a really long stick and pull the trigger.
Oh yeah, or tie a string to the trigger and do that. Yeah, yeah. I thought about that. You know, I have a thing. Not to digress again, but I want to buy like a cheap 1889 Swiss and just shoot GP11 through it, like with a string on the trigger kind of thing and a sandbag. It just until it blows up or ruptures or whatever, the bolt breaks or something like that. Just because everyone says you shouldn't do that in an 1889, and I just want to like put that to the test and see
Okay,
how much.
IV88.
Oh God.
Sorry, Danny, but that's what sounds like.
What have I become?
All right, well, thank you everybody for listening to us ramble on for 2.5 hours. Join our Patreon, join our YouTube channel.
The podcast is paid for by the Patreon, so if you are listening to this, thank the people that are contributing and consider donating $1, because I don't know what it is, but we've been losing a few people on Patreon, so because we have to pay the subscription or the whatever service that we use now, we have to pay them like per hour and every month and everything to keep these podcasts up so everybody can listen to it. So
yeah,
it's the people on Patreon.
They're going to stay on YouTube unless Danny gets pulled off for doing
they'll be on YouTube. But if you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes or whatever, it's only because of the Patreon people. So consider supporting us if you can. If not, we understand.
Or buy a T-shirt. I bought a T-shirt the other day.
Oh yeah, on our Teespring. Teespring. Got a Milsurp World. I guess just search Milsurp World Teespring. You can find it. We have a few.
You can find it on any links to any of your videos too, right?
Yeah. That's true.
Now we're done shamelessly plugging.
Yeah, what else can we plug here?
I don't know. Jared, you got anything to plug?
No,
like and subscribe.
Smash that subscribe button, everybody.
And don't forget to hit the bell icon.
I'd like 100 likes. Let's get 100 likes.
If I get 10,000 likes, I don't know.
I will shoot my Johnson.
Oh, that's good wordplay.
Yeah, I still don't have a video of you shooting a Johnson, Danny. Where's your Johnson video?
Dude, I have so many shooting videos I need to do that I'm just
You don't even have a video on the Johnson, do you?
No. I got a little overwhelmed or something.
It's almost like you also have a Vigero that you've not done a video on.
Yeah. The mood has to strike, man. It's a lot of work, and I gotta like really be into it. Especially now. I'm gonna blame everything on the kid now.
Baby. It's all the baby's fault.
It's the baby's fault.
All right, man. Jared, Danny, I'll see you later. You guys have a good night.
Yep, you have a good night. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.